Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to our 3:30 edition of our district-wide staff meeting. Like each week, I want to start off with some of our MISD proud moments. But before I do that, just remember that if you have questions or comments or concerns, please submit those in the chat portion of the video, and I'll be glad to address those at the end. Just some highlights from this week. I think on Monday, all of our campuses did a great job celebrating our veterans. Our community is incredibly appreciative of our effort to salute these fine men and women. It's a great reflection of our culture where we honor relationships. I had an opportunity to go to 3 different campuses that morning, and each one of them did a great job. So thank you for the time and effort you put into organizing those activities. Also, as you're probably very much aware of, we have a lot of success taking place in many areas, but more specifically, our football teams both will be playing this week, Thursday and Friday, in the first round of the playoffs. So Midlothian High School will play tomorrow night against South Oak Cliff at 7:30, and Heritage will be playing in Tyler on Friday night against Henderson. Both volleyball teams had big wins last night, and they will be advancing. Both of them will be advancing to their regional tournaments. Midlothian will play Highland Park Friday at 5 o'clock, and Heritage will be playing Hargrave at 8 o'clock. The Midlothian High game is in Richardson, and the Heritage game, I believe, is down in Bryan. So support them in there as they look to advance on to the next round. Okay, as I mentioned in my email to you, today I want to spend more time really specifically going over our state of the district. This is something that I've done each year. You'll recall last year I came to each campus and did this. I had an opportunity last month to present this to our Chamber of Commerce, and so wanted to do this for each of you. I wanted to try a little bit differently this time. I know that this, when I present in the past, it's usually been about 30 or 40 minutes. I'm going to go through this probably in about 10 or 15 minutes today with the understanding that I will also, when I finish this, we will send it out to you as a PDF so that you can review the slides. And once again, if you have questions on that, you can let me know as we go through that. So I'm going to pull up this presentation and we will get started. Okay, so first thing, I want to go through several items here, just important facts about the district that I think are excellent points as you're talking to people about the great things happening in Midlothian ISD. Last year we did a satisfaction survey, and our satisfaction rate from all who participated was 89%. I think that's an excellent number for an organization our size. On October 1st, we had an enrollment of 9,795 students. We're getting close to that 9,800 mark. We kind of hovered around that since October 1st. I'm confident that we're going to pass that here before long. That gives us, well, our 7th and 9th grade classes have more than 800 students, and those are larger than any classes we've had. The next item there, you'll see that we continue to surpass national averages on college entrance exams. This one is an important one, I think, which we earned, our high school students earned close to 7,000 college hours last school year, which is equivalent to about $3.5 million in tuition. And we just calculated that based on an average tuition rate of $500 per hour. So I think that's important when you think about our what we're doing with our dual credit courses as well as our Collegiate Scholars Academy. And in fact, that's the next bullet point, is that 30 of our high school students will graduate with an associate's degree. We had 1,237 AP tests taken last year with 62% increase in the number of AP scholars. We increased by 468% the number of career and technical certifications earned. And this is something that we've really focused on in growing our career and technology courses and also emphasizing the certifications that students leave Midlothian High School and Heritage High School with. Kindergarten through 12th grade completed more than 15,000 community service hours. And then we had 50 elementary destination imagination teams with 10 advancing to state and 6 of those advancing to globals and 4 placing in the top 8. And the reason we celebrate that is really the whole emphasis of this destination imagination is really about those critical thinking, the problem solving skills, the ability to collaborate, all the things that we promote as really the priorities for MISD fall within that program. So we're very excited about the success that those teams have had. Just moving forward, the next item, and I think most of you know this, our vision to inspire excellence today to change the world tomorrow. We continue to focus on that in all that we do, as well as looking at our cultural tenets, which are, I think I skipped right over those. Okay, our cultural tenets, and I know you spent some time on your campuses, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time today, but all the decisions that we make should be filtered through these 6 cultural tenets, and should be our priority in the things that we implement within the district. Our goals, most of you have seen these: innovative learning environment focused on academic rigor and relevance. We want a high-performing culture, and that comes through our people, and that's really about our personnel side of things. Safety and security, as you well know, is our #1 priority. The money side of things, the finance side, the budget process, and then also building our schools and allocating our resources, obviously managing our bonds. All those are priorities, and then communication and engagement. Communication internally, but as well as externally, and building the engagement of our community within our organization. As far as results, I know there's a lot of things that we have talked about as far as our metrics, but when we talk about academic growth, the main thing that we're focused on when you think about really from a state accountability standpoint, it's really about meeting that master's grade level. So if we're going to look at anything from a state standpoint, it's pushing our kids to masters. And then bullet number 3, really looking at moving from memorization to more of a critical thinking, problem solving, and application of real world situations, moving towards that whole idea of personalization and customization. So I know as teachers that are listening, I know you've heard us talk about this in iPlan days. You've heard our plan for the next 4 years as we move forward. And those are really the things that we're going to be focused on from an academic, from an instructional standpoint. The next goal had to do more specifically with personnel and human resources. And so one thing that we like to celebrate is that over the last 4 years, we've given really, when you combine those together, about a 13% pay raise to all staff. We've been very fortunate the last 3 years, and we hope to do the same thing this year. We've been able to provide supplemental pay, and that's over the last 3 years, that's been $2,500 per employee for full-time employees and $1,250 for part-time employees. And over the last couple of years, we've also been able to increase our contribution as a district to your monthly health insurance of $75. So we are now at about $300 per employee that we contribute for health insurance. So these are some of the things that we've tried to implement over the last year or two, which I think we've heard tremendous things about, and I hope that we can continue to do things for staff, not just in the realm of salaries. We've implemented the MISD Express Care Clinic, which I know many of you have taken advantage of, for $10, serving you and your immediate family. I know we have our daycare, which I know many of you I hear tremendous things about that, and it continues to be something that our employees hope to continue, that we can continue. We know that we provide quality staff over there, and I always hear tremendous things about the people serving our kids. We worked out a partnership this year with the YMCA where you can have your own children stay in our after-school program for really more than less than half, of what one of our students in the district would pay. We don't charge tuition for children who come with employees from outside the district like many districts do. And then, like I stated earlier, we've increased our contribution to $300 towards health care for employees. Goal number 3 has really been about our safety and security. And I know many of you we've talked about the physical securities, and I'll touch on that in just a moment. But some of the things that we really haven't spent a lot of time on is that we really focused on the social and emotional side of things this year. We added 4 positions to help support the expansions of our college and career counseling. That's something that's been a priority for us over the last 2 or 3 years, is really advising kids on the financial aid process, the testing process, and just the whole selection and acceptance process of the universities or moving into the workforce or a career and technology program. We also have really worked to grow our character ed programs at our campuses, and we will continue to do more of that. And then also just general counseling and resources for families and resources for students as we move forward. I know that's something that has become a large emphasis on each one of our campuses. As far as physical security, I'm going to go through this very quickly. There are some of these that are very much have been celebrated and you're very much aware of. We've implemented the safety and security audit, which then led us to many of the things that we have. We have our Director of Safety and Security, which is now a partner, or he actually is a member of the Midlothian Police Department, works for Midlothian ISD, and that partnership has been tremendous. We added our Director of Guidance and Counseling to help with the social and emotional pieces. We added SROs, and we will continue to add as we add campuses. We have 7 officers now, and then we also have 2 additional part-time officers. We now implement crisis response teams, threat assessment teams. We've grown and expanded our safety and security communication processes. Of course, you're very much aware of our ID badges and our badges on and off the buses. We have reporting systems now in place. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've added hundreds of cameras on each one of our campuses. We continue to add access controls to many of our doors. We continue to focus on our emergency drills. I know many of you are probably, I hear more and more comfort level about what you're supposed to do in various situations. So I'm very thankful for that. And I will just tell you, as a district, we've already spent $4 million towards safety and security from our bonds. And we've also allocated and spent $2.7 million straight from our maintenance and operations to assist with safety and security. So I hope you realize that is a priority for us. I hope that you're paying attention to that, and we continue to provide the best environment for our kids. As far as from a personnel standpoint, this just shows you a little bit about where our money goes. 75% of it goes towards staffing. We are in a people business, and we know that the impact on our kids from an academic standpoint occurs because of our teachers in our classrooms and the support that we provide them. And so 75% of all of our revenue goes towards people. This year we had the lowest tax rate that we've had in 8 years, so that's been celebrated throughout the community. We're continuing to implement the processes and procedures that were voted upon within our bond as far as the projects. We are 58, I'm sorry, we are, I'm gonna go to the next slide. Obviously everybody I think knows that it was $268 million and it was approved by 58%, but we are, my slides jumped ahead. So we're 3 years into the bond. We're about 56% through. We have 16% currently in progress. We continue to grow at a steady rate of about 3 to 5%. And so this just gives you an example of some of the facilities. Everybody knows about Irvin. We'll be opening Dietrich Middle School in the fall. The middle school athletics fields are open. Those were used this year. And then we will begin, we opened the Midlothian High School baseball, softball this past spring. We'll be opening the new field house right after the Christmas holidays at MHS. The projects that we currently have ongoing are in the planning stages. We are designing the expansion of Heritage High School right now. It will be opening in August of 2022. Elementary number 8 is also slated to open in August of 22. The board will be talking about that on Monday night, making some decisions about where that location will be. And then of course we will be renovating the old Irvin Elementary to become the Mile, which will open next fall. So a lot of great projects going on that we are very excited about. Just continue talking about money. Mr. Norris and his group work very closely with our financial advisors, and we have, through bond refunding and through refinancing, saved the taxpayers about $58 million over the last 3 or 4 years. So we're very excited about that savings. The last goal, communication and engagement. I think many of you have been involved in this from our internal standpoint. We've tried to really engage our teachers and staff through lunch and learns, through iSupport, through the surveys that you get after iPlans. We have a teacher advisory group. I have a student advisory council that I work with on a regular basis. We do surveys. From an external standpoint, we're really looking at, we have of course, our district improvement team, bond oversight committees. We have a bond oversight committee that meets. We do surveys to our community. So there's a lot of things that a lot of the decisions that we make are based on feedback from internal stakeholders as well as through our external stakeholders. Wow, we jumped way ahead there. Okay, so we listened. So here are some things that occurred as a result of listening. Increasing our special education support. We increased staffing there. I've heard great things about that. We've modified the iPlan days. Hopefully you realize that your feedback is very much appreciated. We've increased curriculum support through iCoaches. We've adjusted secondary grading guidelines, improved middle school math alignment, and we continue to increase our technology resources for teachers. From an external standpoint, we are working on an entirely new registration process, as well as onboarding for current staff, and we want to increase the customer experience on our campuses. So those are things that we are focused on internally. Our ongoing priorities are really about preparing for life after high school, obviously managing our growth through our bonds projects, and that many of you are very well aware that culture proficiency is a priority for us, and being welcome and open to multiple perspectives, and we will continue that training process on our campuses as we move forward. So I think most of you are aware that we continue to track our progress. We have the performance tracker, which is out there on our website. All the data that we monitor then feeds into, we have a superintendent metrics, we have principal metrics, we have campus metrics that we look at, and these are all measures that have been identified by our community as measures that we value as a district beyond just our state accountability, beyond just whether we get an A, B, C, or F. So I know I've gone through this very quickly. We're going to send this presentation out to you, but I just wanted to highlight some of the great things that are happening in Midlothian ISD. None of these things would happen without each one of you. We continue to hear tremendous things from our community about what's happening in our classrooms, incredible things about our teachers and staff. So just want to celebrate that with you. I've had an opportunity to share this, like I said, at chamber events and other opportunities with other people. And so these are things that we look at as a district that we want to continue to grow. We're doing great things, but we don't want to be satisfied. We want to continue to push forward and do great things for kids. So we will send this out to you. If you have, at this time, I'm going to end the presentation, but if you have any comments or questions, I will be glad to answer those. So I'm going to jump back over here to the chat portion. If there's any questions, please submit that now. And like I did last week, just for the fun of it, just to see who is participating in our event today. Last week, we had 5 people that got to wear jeans all week this week because they were able to answer a question that I asked at the end. So I really didn't have this plan. So as I'm talking here, I'm thinking about what I could ask. And so the one thing that comes to mind is the first, we'll say the first 10 people that can respond and tell me the percentage of respondents to the survey that were satisfied with Midlothian ISD. Wow, that was quick. So we have, all right, once again, I hate to say this, but I can't read what's coming in, but everybody's getting it right. We have, my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to call these out. Aaron Cruz, Kristen, oh wait, that was Aaron Cruz was saying something about my badge I have on, I guess. Okay, thank you for that. But you don't get to wear jeans. Kristen Sweeney, Brittany Muse, Casey Head, Aaron Kimball. I don't know who that one is. I'll find out. Megan Lynch, Whitney Goolsby. There's a Sienna Tovar and Holly Walker. We're going to go with those. Was that 10? All right, we'll go one more. How about Judy Williams? So those 10 people can wear jeans all next week. So congratulations. I didn't even look to see if you got the percentage right, but it looks like everybody did that correctly. So anyway, okay, that's it. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your participation.